Hey, welcome to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about another topic from an educated economist. I feel like every time he puts out a video, he has these really great ideas, and I feel like I could bounce off of him. And I just love doing videos on them because he's very insightful in the way that he's thinking about macro trends within the U.S. And he did make a video, I think yesterday, or was it Wednesday, talking about, the Federal Reserve avoiding another, disaster, another economic disaster. And so I think from what he was saying, I kind of came to my own conclusion that what if the Federal Reserve was just doing a controlled demolition of the economy, right? This controlled recession. And it's not too far-fetched, and it might be obvious to some people, but I mean, when you look at the evidence and the things that are going on and the words that they're saying, the reactions that people are having, it's very clear that there's some manipulation going on. In order to avoid having to do quantitative easing, it makes sense to control a recession that's going to occur, because recessions are vital, and we clearly have needed one for the last 20 years. I mean, you can't just keep bailing out the stock market and the bond market. It doesn't work that way, not realistically. And so the Fed has a couple tricks up their sleeve, like raising rates. So raising their Fed funds rate. They understand that if they raise it too fast, it's going to cause, a halt in the mortgage-backed securities market. This is called no bid MBS, by the way. That's the term for it. When there's a trading day that occurs and no one's buying mortgage-backed securities. And that's called no bid MBS, and that's what led to the 2008 financial crisis, was because no one was buying them for a while. And even though that rates were going down, rates are at zero. But mortgage rates were like at 6%. And so if the Fed raises rates too fast, too much, it will cause that, because why would anyone want to buy an MBS when they're making more money on treasuries? And that's the same case for like high yield corporate bonds and municipality bonds and other types of bonds that may not make as much return as a treasury bond. Another thing, the thing that uneducated economists pointed out was that if they raise rates, and how far are they going to go? But they can't go that high, right? So they go to like 3% probably by the end of the year. They'll probably raise it by 0.75% for the rest of the year. I think there are 2 more meetings that they've got where they're going to raise rates. So they raise it to like 3%, okay? And with all these rate hikes, these huge rate hikes that we haven't seen before, I mean, the market's going to react very negatively towards it. Businesses will raise rates, and by businesses I mean banks. So banks are going to raise their lending costs, and they're going to react very negatively towards this. People are going to want to buy homes, and they're going to find that with a 3% funds rate, they're going to get like an 8-9% mortgage. They're going to get a 10-12% car loan. And so with that, it takes out the people from the market. It will remove people from the market that are kind of on the fence. People who are like, oh, I can just buy a house, or I don't know, should I buy a house? People who are gung-ho, and people who are kind of like, on the fence about it. People who might make a decision the incorrect decision of buying a home, let's say, or buying a car. It'll keep those people out of the market. But what it will do is it will control demand. And how it controls demand is it will keep people in the market who are fearful of interest rate hikes. So people who are very serious about buying homes or cars, I say homes or cars because those are basically like the one thing that typical people will buy, that are the most expensive items they will ever buy in their life. So these people will be very serious about buying cars and homes, and they're just going to do it, right? They're just going to buy right now or in the next few months because they're fearful. And they're going to keep demand up and running at a certain level that the Fed wants, because the Fed believes that there's enough demand that if they can cut out the people who are like willy-nilly on making huge purchases, they can keep the people who are serious. And instead of demand dropping 100%, demand only drops like 60%, 70%, because you still want liquidity. They just don't want as much liquidity that's already existing, that's already out there. At first, these people are going to be angry because they're going to notice that the rates will drop because the banks will react in a different way after a few months when the Fed slows down their interest rate hikes or just stops completely. And they're going to get it in their head like, oh crap, we thought it was going to go up higher. We were preparing for that. And the people who bought homes are going to be mad at first because they're going to be like, you tricked me, right? That's where uneducated economist was coming in. Now, the thing is, though, that he didn't describe in his video was that people can just refinance once interest rates drop, because if the Fed finds that the recession is too much, because there probably will be a recession. Consumer sentiment's down hard. Inventory levels are rising in Target and Walmart, which is probably the same case for small businesses, even though I don't know if we have that metric or not. But let's just say it is. It's rising inventory levels everywhere because everyone was going to capitalize on the demand. No one knew that the Fed was going to raise interest rates as fast as quickly, this much. And so what will happen is, if this really is true and people will be upset, recession happens, it's really bad, Fed can go back to quantitative easing. They have the room now with the interest rates to do it. They don't have to go negative, even though real interest rates are negative. The point is that they have that room. 3% is technically enough room. It doesn't solve their balance sheet issue, though. That's the only thing. They're trying to dump mortgage-backed securities back into the market. They're going to try and dump everything back into the market. No one's going to want to buy treasury bonds and notes if they're only making 1.5% when the interest rate's high enough. They can just go buy one right now that's making 3.7, 3.5%. The thing, though, is that as interest rates rise, businesses will react very negatively. Businesses that are very used to living in low interest rate environments will go out of business pretty quickly because they won't know how to operate in this environment. That's the unfortunate thing. And so you're going to see layoffs happen, especially more so in Q3, Q4, because that's when we're going to get the new earnings, and that's when earnings are going to slide again. So Q3, Q4, I believe in December we'll have massive deflation because of the lack of demand that's going to occur, because of the job losses that will occur. But we will have bursts of inflation. These will be incredibly painful for the average consumer, which is me. I'm an average consumer. It will be painful for me. And those are going to take place during the holidays, like 4th of July, coming up pretty soon. 4th of July, happen Labor Day, it'll happen Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, who knows what Christmas is going to do. People are going to buy gifts, but are they going to buy $200 gifts, or are they going to buy $50 gifts? I don't know. Is there going to be enough food on the shelves for all of the different meals that we have during these holidays? I don't know. But you're seeing all these high levels of inventory at Target, Walmart, small businesses, potentially, they're going to start slashing, making discounts, just fly in the air. And there's no corporate reason behind it. It's not like another, cyber mid-year Monday, a yellow Black Friday, I don't know what you call it. But there's nothing that's justifying this besides having high inventory and deteriorating demand. So we'll see it we'll see it in the balance sheets, we'll see it in the financials for these firms, for these retail firms, because retail is the pulse of the economy. So that's going to be all for today, guys. Thanks for watching.